Warehouse on 377 is the place to go when you want to look your very Tolar best. They offer graphic tees and custom graphic apparel, and also offer dry cleaning laundry services with next day turnaround. Get your custom Tolar spirit wear or design your own look. The Warehouse on 377 is the one-stop shop for custom apparel and embroidery. With fast turnaround times, no minimums, and volume price breaks. This Tolar family-owned and operated business will get you looking your very best. That's The Warehouse on 377. Proud Rattler supporter.
And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of your favorite sports show, and that is The Sports Scene with the Wood Brothers. I'm your host, as always, and that guy over there, claiming to be the cool one, is himself. That is Donnie Wood. Yeah, look at him. He got some stuff in the background going on. He's learning stuff. All right, so Donnie Wood, fresh out of incarceration, still doesn't have a good barber. Show everybody that back of that head there for a second. Now, are you growing a ponytail, Donnie?
No, I won't. I won't do a ponytail.
You won't do a ponytail?
I'm inspired by the young guys that we call the football games, baseball games stuff for.
Yeah.
And I see their long hair,
with flowing locks. Yeah,
it makes me want to go back to the 80s.
Well, I just can't do it. You know, ever since I got out of the military, man, if it gets out of anywhere close to out of regs, man, I gotta saw that stuff off.
Yeah, I just, my wife suggested it, and I'm a good husband. I do what she wants, and
you do what she says.
If she likes it, that's all that matters, right?
That's right. Hey, there you go. I'm just trying to get mine to like me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't have kids at home anymore, so I can't blame stuff on them anymore. It's very, very hard. Very, very hard. You can't, stuff happens around the house. You can't say, well, that's because, Nick didn't do it or Tatiana didn't do it. Now I have to blame it on the dog.
Yeah. And that don't work too well, does it?
Well, some things it does. Some things not so much.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, man, I don't know about you, but I'm excited. My sports pants are going crazy. It's that time of the year where everything's going around. The NBA draft is just going on and everything. Boy, what an exciting time that is. It's so boring. Why is the NBA draft the most boring thing on television? And why do they even put it on television?
I don't know. I think this year was really bad because there wasn't really like any – I never heard of most of those guys that got picked. So last year they you had the tall Frenchman, the Wembyamba or whatever that was intriguing. But this year, man, and it's bad, David, when the NBA draft starts out with the first two picks are Frenchmen, two guys from France.
Oui.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And, and another thing, we can't pronounce their names. All these guys that are getting drafted, you can't even pronounce their names. They're all,
Yeah, I'm out after two syllables, and, here you go. You got them. They're about this, names are about this long. Their jerseys, it goes all the way around the side of their jerseys and everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I think a lot of them, came over through that open border that your president.
Whoa. Easy. Back away now. Back away. No, no way. Hey, if you see, I'm sporting, I love that you're sporting your Tolar Rattler hat because we're going to talk about Tolar Rattler. Love the Yellowstone National Park. You went on vacation and you actually even came back. I mean, as a matter of fact, they demanded that you come back to Texas. Is that right?
Yeah, they actually was recruiting me to come stay there because that's my kind of state, man. That's a good state. And you know what's crazy about that state? It's really huge. It's a big state. It's one of the biggest states in our union, but it's one of the least amount of people that live there. It's a little over 600, like a little over 600,000 population in that whole state. I mean, they have more of that in Dallas or Fort Worth or whatever. So it's a beautiful state. Yellowstone, went to the Grand Tetons, and there was a couple of towns that I just fell in love with. It's,
now, one thing I know you did not see while you were over there, you didn't see Kevin Costner anywhere.
No, I didn't see Kevin.
No, he wasn't there. Wasn't there.
He's stepping down, actually.
Stepping down, leaving. You know, maybe Jerry Jones should take some notes from Kevin. Well, we'll get into that later on. This is the sports scene, so we're going to be talking some sports. And Donnie's sporting that Tolar Rattler hat, and that's where we're going to start. I'm sporting the Peak Performance. And Donnie, the reason, there's a couple of reasons why I'm wearing this hat. Number one, they're a great sponsor of ours for the sports scene and Wood Place Promotions. Number two, that's going to be my creed this year for the Tolar Rattlers. We're going to get the peak performance out of all of these players this year. This year is going to be a very special year. A lot of things have changed. We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to give you a little bit of a semi-preview of your new Tolar Rattlers. And boy, it is new because there's a lot of things going on. It's a magical year. 2023 was a super magical year. Tolar Rattlers overall last year, 14-2, 6-0 in district. And of course, they were the 2A Division I state finalists. Donnie, first time the school played in a state championship. And I don't think it's going to be the last time, because I'm thinking this year, even though we're stepping up to 3A, D2, Tolar Rattlers could make an appearance this year in the state championship.
You never know. I mean, they set the bar high last year, obviously going to the state championship. And obviously, it's kind of like I kind of relate, kind of put it together with Tolar. Their championship game was against Timpson. And it was kind of like, I mean, Tolar had a fantastic year. The second best, the number 2 team in state, basically, right? So they went up against Timpson, which was a powerhouse. It was just their year. It's kind of like the Mavericks this year in the NBA Finals going up against Boston. Nobody was going to beat Boston. Nobody was going to beat Timpson. And, you know, with that Terry Bussey kid, you know, he's obviously when you got it's not even fair if you have the number 1 recruit in the nation playing on a 2A school like that. That makes a huge difference. And you know, it was just their year. But Tolar, you know, any other year, Tolar probably wins the state championship. That you know, getting there. But I think this year is going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. Like I said, 3A moving up. But people are starting to notice the Tolar Rattlers, and you know, I'll let you know how they're noticing them with the Dave Campbell's magazine here in a bit.
Yeah, Donnie called me earlier this week, folks, and he said, "Oh, it's here. It's here." And I said, "What?" And I said, "Did you get a new car? Did you get some new furniture? Did you get a new appliance? What's going on, Donnie?" "Oh, no, man. My Dave Campbell's football magazine came in," and he was so excited, like a little kid in a candy store, and hopping all over. It does. It kind of signifies, hey, we're about to get started. We're about to get going. And this year, Donnie, we gotta get through this real quick. Couple of new coaches, not just the head coach, not just the new AD, and of course Jeremy Mullins going over to Eagle Mountain High School in over there in the Metro Mess. And I went by there the other day, Donnie, and I'm telling you, what a facility, what a school, and what an opportunity for Jeremy to, you know, continue on with what he did in Tolar over there. Brand new school, and boy, he's got his plate full over there, because he's taken on athletes from a couple of different schools in the school district. They've split them all up. And of course, he's got to bring all that together. They haven't played junior high football together. Some of them maybe, some of them not. I mean, you're going to see something very special over there. Kudos for Jeremy. But we've got a new head coach, and he is something special. And I'm talking about Coach Blake Mauser. Now, I've got to spend some time with the guy, and he definitely knows his football. And I'm really, really excited about Coach Mauser and what he's going to be able to bring to Tolar. Now, he grew up in a small school, 3A, actually, Blanco. They're a 3A D1 school, I believe. They're a little north of San Antonio. And he's bringing in 5 other coaches. I think there's going to be more before it even gets all said and done. Of course, Blake, his last stop was at Austin Vandergrift, and which is a 6A Division II school, a big school. He spent 11 years there as their offensive coordinator, and they had a state appearance in 2022. Again, Donnie, like I said, he's got the pedigree, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be excited about getting this guy, running a big school's offense with great success, the going to the state championship, having winning seasons after winning seasons. So he knows how to run an offense, and, he's got his opportunity to be the head coach. It's exciting, for him to come down with his, coaching staff. What's good about high school football is you have the off season, you have the, 2-a-days that'll be, coming up quicker than you think. And then a couple of exhibition games. And then you got the non-district. By the time district starts up, man, his offense and his, what he wants to implement is going to be all intact. And people better watch out. I think, obviously we lost some really great players, but we've returned a lot of great players as well. So I like it's going to be tough because in our region, you got a couple of tough teams that are picked ahead of you, and you got to get by them to get to that ultimate prize. But you want to be challenged as an athlete, as a team, as a coach. You want to be challenged and to be the best and beat the best. And Tolar's going to get that chance right off the bat here and starting in 3A Division II. For
sure. And I'm gonna touch again some more on their coaching staff. Their offensive coordinator is going to be Carson Humphreys. Now, Carson Humphreys is from 5A Abilene Cooper. That's a pretty good football school, Donnie, right there. He's also going to be the boys track coach. So Carson Humphreys, we need to get familiarized with him as well. And then, of course, the defensive coordinator, he didn't have to look far to find this guy. It's Brett Mauser, his brother. So he's bringing his brother. So he knows the power that the brothers can bring. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, what's funny about this is you got your offensive coordinator, Carson Humphreys. He's the boys track coach. Well, Brett Mauser, who's the defensive coordinator for the Tolar Rattlers this year, from 4A Giddings, by the way, that was his last stop. He's going to be the girls track coach. So speed and technique is something that both of these coaches know that in sports, if you have speed and you have technique, that's pretty good winning combination. And I like the fact that your coordinators are track coaches.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. And I like the fact that, you got a family combination there going in the coaching staff, which worked out pretty good for us the last several years. So I like that.
Yeah, I do. I like that a lot. And let me run down a couple of other coaches that folks need to get familiarized with. Of course, you won't have to get too familiarized with the new volleyball coach. It is Amber Terrell. She was assistant for the Rattlers. She moved over to the head coach position. Baseball. Yeah, we got really spoiled with Lance Alford. He has retired, and Jody Spain is coming over. His last stop was 2A Frost, but he also coached at 3A Ballinger. He is going to be he was head coach there at those two stops. Here, he's going to be in that position as well in baseball. That's Jody Spain. In basketball, we've got Andy Atkins. Coach Richardson went up to Eagle Mountain with Jeremy, so we've got a new basketball coach for the boys. Andy Atkins, and his last head coaching job, Donnie, you'll like this, 3A Bowie. So all of these coaches coming over from either bigger schools or schools that have been tremendously competitive at a high level. Playoff experience with these coaches abound, and the talent at your coaching staff can kind of bleed its way into your team.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be with Tolar. I mean, quite honestly, you coaches should want to come to Tolar with the last several years, and not just football, but all their sports teams, they've had great success. And I think it's starting to get recognized as one of those top tier schools, not just academically, but in athletic field. So coaches, that's what happens when you start winning in all these multiple sports, which they have. You have great success. Other coaches, they see that, they want to come to that place. I mean, you look at you look at the schools like the Alitos and the South Lake Carrolls and smaller schools. Like you have a lot of those smaller schools that have great success. They bring the best coaches, and the future for Tolar, athletic wise, really looks really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I put the banner down there, Donnie. You ask, we answer. You can send your questions in the comment section, or you can make a comment, folks, as you're watching along. Of course, this is the sports scene. We are previewing and talking about the Tolar Rattlers, and of course, we are the voice of the Tolar Rattlers. Have been for quite some time, Donnie. Do you know what this year makes it?
Is it 11?
This will be year 11 for the sports scene. Now, of course, I go a little bit further back because I did some radio experience with them and some radio TV stuff. You did as well. But so far as covering them primarily, it's 11th year and very, very special. I think this is going to be a very, very special year, Donnie. Mark it on there. I said it first. Very, very, very special year. Let's talk about some returning players, shall we? Of course, you've got the old Dave Campbell's over there, Donnie. Tell me, where did old Dave say that the Tolar Rattlers would wind up in district this year?
Well, Dave Campbell's has Tolar winning the District 5 3A Division 2.
Yeah.
They have them ahead of Eastland.
Yep.
And then they have Early, Clifton, Brady, and Dublin. And so they recognize that, hey, this is a school that they went to the state championship game in 2A Division 1. They don't feel like they're going to drop off much in 3A Division 2. They actually have them in division in the preseason rankings. They have Tolar at number 11 in state. So for a team that's coming from 2A to a new classification 3A, a bigger schools, to be preseason ranked at 11, that's saying a lot that they believe that Tolar can make some noise.
Oh yeah, and they will. What does it say? I had the wrong banner up there for a minute. Yeah, absolutely. They've got us all the way at 11, but in our region, Donnie, that's the most important. Who are the teams ahead of us in our region?
Well, in our region, Jacksboro. I'm sorry, we got to start off with. Unfortunately,
Gunter.
Or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Gunter is in Region 2, and Gunter is a two-time state championship, two seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody that follows football, high school football, they've heard of Gunter, and they know what a powerhouse they are. So Gunter starts the season ranked number 1, and they should be. They've won state 2 years in a row. The other team out of our region that's ranked in the top 10 is number 6 in state preseason ranking, Jacksboro. Obviously, we're familiar with Jacksboro, and they had a great season last year. They have a really good quarterback. They scored a lot of points, but I'm really interested in taking them on and seeing what we can do with them. But those are the only two teams in our region that are ahead of Tolar in the preseason rankings.
Absolutely, and I've looked at Jacksboro, I've looked at Gunter, and I think we can compete with both of these teams, Donnie. And all you have to do is get past one of them, and you're playing for a regional championship, and you can get into that into the tournament, so to speak. And all it takes is the ball to bounce a couple of different ways. The one thing I like about us over Jacksboro, and I think that's our biggest hurdle because. See Gunter, and the way the brackets will bracket down, so we would see them before we would see Gunter. And I think our physicality and the way we hit on both sides of the ball and our offensive line, which by the way, you were talking about off season and before 2-a-days and everything. The 7-on-7 team have been looking very, very good. all indications are is that they're hitting on all cylinders, and that's your talent position. And then, of course, the lineman group, they just continue doing what they do every year in the off season, and that's racking up awards and accolades across the landscape. And they have competed at an extremely high level and really have dominated most 3A D2 schools that they go up against. So look for the Tolar Rattlers to really, really make their mark. I think we get by Jacksboro. And Donnie, I think your internet's kind of looping just a little bit, but we'll get through this. Let's talk about some of these players, man. I'm excited. You said we lost some players, none bigger than our quarterback, Isaac Blessing. Isaac Blessing graduating and going on down to Lamar and everything. There are a few names that I'll give you at quarterback. And of course, you never know because they haven't even snapped the ball in 2 days. You don't know the talent level. Of course, the incumbent would be Grant Shirley. He played some quarterback for us, was on the varsity last year, did some really nice things. And then, of course, the quarterback that was on the JV squad, very talented Britton Rice. Britton Rice will compete. And then, of course, they've got the athlete. And, Donnie, don't you love the name athlete in front of you whenever people are talking about you specifically when they say this guy's an athlete, which means he can pretty much do it all. He's super talented. I'm talking about Ty Culberson. So you've got Culberson, you've got Rice, and you got Shirley. Out of those three, those are the three at this particular point in time, unless there's somebody we don't know about vying for that quarterback position. I feel pretty good because there's a lot of talent right there.
Yeah, most definitely. And obviously, before I go, I do have to make one correction that I missed. I missed Holiday. Holiday is in the top 10. They're number 8. They are also in our region. So they're in Jacksboro's district. So that'll be interesting to see how that district goes. Yeah, but yeah, going back to the players, that is obviously the key position to fill is going to be the quarterback, right? Other than that, we've got so many guys returning. We have 7 offensive and 7 defensive returning starters. But obviously, the quarterback is really key. Obviously, Blessing, had a great season last year, throwing the ball and running the ball. Dual threat guy. I think Tolar's offense is probably going to lean on the run and attack a little bit more this year. And why not? With the guys that they have that can run the ball, you're going to have one of your quarterbacks, whoever it is going to be able to be very athletic and be able to run with the ball. But you got, Peyton Brown and Kelvin Murray in the backfield, thunder and lightning. I am so excited for this season in the running back combination there. It's just think about it. It just I'm telling you, you might go back to old school. I know Coach Mauser. He's coming from in most offenses in high school, wide open, throw the ball. But man, I tell you, I'd have a hard time not just keep handing it off and just getting 5, 6, 30 yards. It's just gonna control the clock. You're gonna pound the team and wear them down. It's exciting, and that's going to open up the passing lane. When you got running backs like that, and then you got Drake Owens as an up back that's leading blocks, a tight end. He comes out of that tight end position as well that can catch the ball. Man, I'm excited about our offense, especially with the knowledge that Coach Mauser brings.
Yeah, I tell you, you talk about downtown Peyton Brown. I saw him the other day, Donnie, at his place of employment. And you're going to fall out of your chair when I tell you this. He's gotten bigger. He's bigger.
Yeah.
He's bigger. And I asked him, I said, well, have you been working? And, he's only benching like 295, 298, something like that. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, why he's sloughing off like he is. And I asked him, I said, how's that ankle doing? He goes, what ankle, man? He goes, I'm feeling great. I'm getting stuff done. I'm doing my footwork, and I'm telling you, he's going to come in. This is his senior year. He's played on this team ever since he was a freshman, and I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a special year for him. And then Sweet Feet, Calvin Murray, you addressed him. There's a couple of others. Caden Abrego is going to take some snaps at running back this year, and Drake Owens. You talked about him as an up back, but Donnie, don't discount him. as a running back where they can just hand it off to him and let him pound up that middle. I mean, you saw how size and speed and strength with Blessing and Brown last year when we got into the playoffs. You still got that with Drake Owens and Peyton Brown. So, and then Caden, he ain't no slouch either. You know, he's a top tier defensive player, and so he has that mentality. He can grind it out. He's also pretty quick.
Yeah, you know, looking at all the names that are coming back, and they were such big players for us last year. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited, so stoked. You know, you obviously have the question mark with quarterback, what's going to happen there, but I don't think you have to, especially early on. I think we'll really lean on our running attack, and why not? You got a lot of really good offensive linemen coming back, and you know, with those running backs, you should be doing that. But I don't think I know we're going to score a lot of points, but to win the games, it might be that first score that wins the game, because that defense, man, looking at all the guys that are coming back, we have all our defensive line coming back. Yeah. We have, you know, key linebackers. You know, Drake Owens, that guy, you know, he's a stud linebacker, and then you got a bunch of secondary guys coming back. It's just that defense, I think, is just going to be very dominant. And you know, Coach Mauser, he's got to be like thinking, man, I get all these guys coming back from a state championship team.
Makes your job a lot easier, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. You talked about like Lance Alford with the really great players that he had for 2 or 3 years in baseball. You know, you always kind of tease them like, hey, Coach, your job is easy, man. You got all these great players. Yeah. You know, just throw them out there and let them do their thing.
Well, I said it earlier, when you got your Dave Campbell's magazine, you were like the kid in the candy store. This had to be Coach Mauser when he came to Tolar, Texas. You know, he had to go, wow, this is great. Look, I got this toy, I got that toy. I'll talk a little bit about some other offensive players. Wide receiver, look for Ty McClure to take a big role there. We lost some wide receivers due to graduation, but McClure, Braylon Feast, remember him? He came on real strong, especially towards the end of the season. Caden Pate, who played a tremendous amount of defense last year, he's going to be seeing some reps at wide receiver. Tight end, you got Hunter Michaels, you got Cutter Kane, and you got Brooke Stone. All three of those are going to be playing some of the tight end position. And, of course, you'll see Drake Owens from running back to tight end. I don't know. One thing about Coach Mauser's offensive system, and from what I've seen, and I guarantee you Carson Humphreys, he's the offensive coordinator, and what I saw from Abilene Cooper tape, because I've been looking at a lot of Abilene Cooper and seeing how they formulate stuff. And you got to know, Blake was offensive coordinator at Vandergrift. So you've got an offensive coordinated mind at head coach, and then you got Humphreys, who was at Abilene Cooper. Various formations, a lot of movement, a lot of working parts, integral working parts, and it's going to be a deeper playbook, I think, is what you're going to see from what we've seen from Coach Mullen's staff in years gone by. They're going to expand it a little bit more. You may see different plays, different formations in different games. First game, you may see something completely different from what you're going to see in game 2, game 3, game 4. And I don't want to give away the farm, but Donnie, I'm telling you, it's going to be a special year. Offensively, look for a lot of fireworks. Defense, it's just going to be the same old Tolar Rattlers, smack you in the mouth and hustle to the football and make those tackles.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the guys that are coming back, especially on the line of scrimmage, you know, on both sides. You know, you have Sam Stewart, you got Toby Combs, you got Zane Graham. Those are your key guys from the offensive line coming back. And, you know, the key position, I think, that we got to replace is that center position. And, you know, that center and quarterback position is, you know, they work together. And so that's going to be a key spot right there of how this team goes. Who can fill those places. And then on the defensive line, you got all 4 of your starters coming back. You know, Cash Clark, Cutter Kane, Brooke Stone. Who am I missing out? Hunter Michaels. I mean, that defensive line last year was so dominant, and they all are coming back. And then you got Drake Owens back there leading that linebacker core. You know, some of those defensive guys, Tyler Culberson, the defensive backs, Caden Pate, was a big defensive back there. I mean, Cash Clark. Did I say Cash Clark?
Yes, you did.
Cash Clark is so fun to watch.
Cash money.
And I talking about this just makes me excited. I'm like, okay, when does this season start? August, right? August.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be big, folks. I'm going to throw it up here real quick. I'm going to get rid of the banner so that we can see it. But I've got to throw something up here, Donnie. This is it. You can plan your life around this right here, folks. It is your Tolar Rattlers 24-25 schedule. They're going to be at Cisco. That is a scrimmage on the 15th of August. And then on the 22nd of Jacksboro, Donnie, I'm going to be doing a test broadcast. I'd love for you to come up. That's going to be on a Thursday, though, August the 22nd. We're going to do a scrimmage at our home stadium against Jacksboro. And that is a preview of what I think you will see in the playoffs and perennial playoff preview there. And then, of course, it's on the road to Peaster. We've been there before, Donnie. We're going to make sure that we have better internet than what we had last time. And we'll be at Peaster on August the 30th. And then the real season non-district really ramps up as we play a very, very tough Teague team in the East Texas Piney Woods. That's going to be on September 6th. Then it's on to Millsap at home, Comanche at home. Thank goodness, at home. And at Breckenridge, we're going to take on the Buckaroos. And there's a mascot name for you, Donnie. And then district starts. And the district will start for us after the bye week on October the 11th. And that will be early at home. And then we're going to be taking on Dublin at home. And then we're at Clifton at home against Brady. And then we finish off the season, which I think will be for the district championship right there. And I love the fact that we get Eastland last, Donnie, because if you look at this district, it's going to be Tolar and Eastland. And I love the fact that it comes down to the last week of the deal, because sometimes you get lax, once you've already secured the district championship and you're going to be the number one seed and everything's set for you. You kind of, I want them sharp, and that's going to be a very pivotal game, and it's the last game of our regular schedule before we go into a long playoff run.
Yeah, the two games that I'm kind of right now, at least starting off, most excited about is the second game, the second non-district game.
Yeah,
at Teague, because Teague is they're 3A Division I school. They went 2 rounds deep in the playoffs last year in 3A Division I. They're ranked. They're starting out ranked number 22 in the state at Division I 3A. So they're a really good team. So that's going to be a really good challenge. I especially going there to their place. I believe they're orange and white. I believe.
And they look like. Their field looks like the University of Tennessee, Donnie.
Yeah,
orange tee.
I'm excited about that one more than any of them. And then obviously the other game that I'm most excited about is the game you just mentioned, the game against Eastland. I totally believe that both teams will be undefeated in district going into that last district game.
Yeah,
and I like what you said about. Going into the playoffs, you want to be at your best, right? And I think that game will bring out your best because, quite honestly, David, even though we're moving up in the classification, you win the district, you're going to get a 4-seed team out of the other district. So you're more than likely it's not going to be that competitive that first round. So
this is like a playoff game, yeah.
Yeah, so you're it's good to have that really tough game going into maybe an easier game, so you don't have a bunch of games that in a row that are really easy. And another thing that excites me is obviously Eastland. We were in their district for a couple of years before when we got moved up, and I haven't called a game in Eastland. I know you have, but I am excited that it's kind of weird. Obviously, you like to play at home. But I'm kind of excited that we're playing in Eastland because Eastland, they bring their fans out, man, and that town shuts down, and that's going to be a great environment because they've had some great success. Last year they didn't have the best of seasons, but they're usually, one of the better teams, and that environment's going to be crazy. So I'm really excited about that game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. We can't wait. Tolar Rattlers and the Rattler Nation looking proud, and it's going to be great. Now, folks, you can comment. If you comment, we'll put it up here on the screen, and if you have any questions for us, we'll answer them as best we can, and we want to get you guys involved in it for sure. Hey, Donnie, let's move on into the second biggest topic in the sports world, aside from the Tolar Rattlers, and of course, that's the Dallas. Uh-oh.
You're back.
Right. Yeah, we're back. We're good. Woo, that was scary. The Tolar Rattlers had okay, so we talked about Tolar. The Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks had a wonderful season this year too, Donnie. They got to go to their state championship. They got to go to the Western Conference Finals, and then they went to the NBA championship and against the Boston Celtics. And Donnie, it's like you said, it didn't matter who was playing Boston. Boston was going to win it. They were a team that was destined.
Yeah, looking at it, I obviously I'm a homer, and I'm like, okay, Mavericks in 7. I was telling people, but that was, and really honestly, if I was honest about it, I kind of knew that Boston was probably going to win that series. Just the way they played all season, they dominated. They were the best team all season. They just had one of those seasons where you kind of think, man, this nobody can beat this team. This is their season.
Yeah.
But to get the Dallas Mavericks didn't make the playoffs last year, right? The year before they made the Western Conference Finals, lost. But last year they didn't make the playoffs, and then to go in this year, and I think they were at least the second hottest team the last month or so of the season.
Oh yeah,
they were playing really good basketball, and they obviously beat the Clippers, beat Oklahoma City, and then beat the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals to get there. And that's some really good teams that they beat. I'm going to tell you right now, I watched every game. I'm just a homer, and it's funny. My wife's story, she's not really a sports person as much, but she loves the Mavericks, and we watch the Mavericks together. So that's one team that I'll stop down and we'll watch together. And watching that team, especially after the trade deadline, when PJ Washington and Gafford, they got them in the trade.
Yeah,
they just took off, and Kyrie and Luka started gelling, and that team really played together. I mean, they were like you kind of almost thought they were like a high school team, because they were so gelled together and bonded, and they were pulling for each other. The guys on the bench were pulling for each other. They were a really, really good team.
I wanted to ask you real quick, because you did watch a lot of the Maverick. I watched a lot of Mavericks, not like you, but I did watch a lot of the Mavericks this year. It seemed to me that when they got Gafford, it extremely helped Lively and his growth as a young player. And now he's one of the dominant players. I mean, you ask any team in the NBA right now, they'd love to have a guy like him. He just hustles. He's very aggressive and a super talented player. With Kyrie, Luka, Lively, and Jones. And I wanted to talk about that. I think the Mavericks offseason, the biggest priority that they have to have is to re-sign Jones. They cannot let that guy get away. He is so much of the culture of what this Maverick squad is about. They've got to keep him.
Well, I think today the Mavericks were able to trade Hardaway. And
yeah, thank goodness.
And that was the key thing to get off that contract. He was making $14 million a year for next year, so they were able to trade him. They traded him and 3 second-round picks, which, if you're a second-round pick in the NBA, you're probably never going to make the team, or you're going to be a G Leaguer or whatever. But so it's not a big loss, but you traded that, and you got a pretty good player, Quentin Grimes. They traded him to Detroit. He mainly played for the Knicks. He got traded to the Detroit Pistons halfway through the season last year. But Quentin Grimes is a kid he's got some talent, and I really like that trade. And also, if you look at the key thing was Tim Hardaway was going to be making almost 15 million. Grimes makes almost 5 million. So what that did, that basically, and Nico Harrison is the GM for the Mavs. He's done a great job since he's taken over. And what he did there on that one trade, he basically freed up to be able to have Quentin Grimes is going to be a contributor. He's going to be a guy that he's a really good defensive player.
Yeah,
he can shoot the 3-pointer. And he's young. He's still young. But then you freed up that money, and that money is going to allow you to re-sign Derrick Jones. So you're going to have your team back minus Tim Hardaway, which is a good minus. I think he's done. And in the halfway through the season and in the playoffs, he couldn't do nothing for you. So you're going to have your team back, plus Quentin Grimes, and who knows, you might be able to do something else. But when you bring back your team, you're basically your whole team that went to the NBA Finals, and you got them for another year with, on top of that, with Lively going into his second year, you're just going to be better.
Yeah, you're going to be better.
I'm predicting right now, I'll go ahead and tell you, I've got it written down. Dallas Mavericks are going to repeat. They're going to go back to the NBA Finals next year. I'm not going to say they're going to win it, but they're going to be back in the NBA Finals because now that all depends on health, right?
Yes.
So you can't have Luka miss a bunch of games. You can't have Kyrie miss a bunch of games, especially at the end of the season. But if you have all your team back with Lively, and like you said, Lively and Gafford is a great combination. When you have Lively in there, and Gafford comes in to spill them, you're not dropping off. Yeah. And you got rim protection. You got energy. I like you said, I love Lively. I think he is way mature than the years. I think he just turned 20.
Yeah, he's definitely the real deal. I think they hit on the mother lode right there, and they put him on the right team. I think you just look at these guys play, and they like one another. They like working with one another, and they complement one another so well. And of course, that's also a big contribution from the man himself, Luka. A lot of people say a lot of things about Luka. Oh, he whines too much. Oh, he does this, he does that. Luka's a very big team player, and I think he made Kyrie better. I think Kyrie made him better. And I think the two of them are a good leadership part of the team for somebody young like Kyrie. I mean, like Lively. Lively, to me, is going to be – I think he's going to be bigger than what a lot of people expect him to be.
Yeah, I think he's a great fit for those two guys, those two all-stars, those superstars, those two Hall of Famers, to have Lively in there. And what's funny is Lively was a rookie last year. And if you watch him on the court and listen to him, he was directing the defenses, and he was doing. He is a really, really smart basketball player, and that's very rare to have at that young of age. Now you talk about Luka. It kind of pissed me off, quite honestly, about some of these national so-called experts were kind of dogging on Luka. If he had one semi-bad game,
yes,
they would say, "Oh, he's not showing up." Y'all. Luka and the guy, he would make a triple-double, and they'd say, "Oh, he didn't play good," and they would dog on his defense and stuff. And when Luka needs to play defense, he can do it. But quite honestly, when you have that player that really leads your offense, you can't really have him anchor down and play really, really strong defense all the time, But I think Luka, I personally, because I watched every game, I think he should have been the MVP. But and I hate to say this, but the NBA, for some reason, they don't like Luka.
No.
And the refs don't like Luka either. I know he whines and all that stuff, but there's a lot of times there's a good reason why he's belly aching. But he's got to get that, He's got to be better at that, more mature. But for some reason, the NBA they want to claim that the Oklahoma City kid, Alexander kid, that he's better than Luka. But Luka does, SAJ. Luka does more, and he's a great player too. I'm not saying that he's not, but I would take Luka over anybody right now in the NBA.
Yeah, if you were to be drafting a team, I would that'd be my one pick for sure. All right, let's move on. The Mavericks going to repeat according to Donnie Wood. Write it down today, and I say that Rattlers are going to be in the state championship this year. Again, 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
Hey, so you're saying that the Rattlers are going to beat Gunter?
They're going to beat Gunter
in the regional final
into the state championship.
Nice.
It's so good, Donnie. Think how cool that will be to defeat Jacksboro and then to defeat Gunter and move into the state championship.
I tell you what, if we do that, man,
I'm telling you right now, there will be a new state champion. Gunter will not repeat, and so I'm just putting it right there right now.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
If that happens,
the
Tolar people of Tolar got to pony up and get Tolar a new stadium.
Yes, they do.
I mean, get fancy big stadium. Hey, you seen all these stadiums in Texas? Oh, and not just the big schools, but I mean, Godley has a new stadium that's like, what?
Yeah,
it
looks like a
better than most small colleges.
Yes.
All right, so
Carlton Stadium didn't get nice until the last couple of years. I mean, this is very, very impressive what Godley's done over there. Look at Glen Rose. I mean, Glen Rose has a fantastic stadium. Yeah. So you heard that right there, Rattler Nation. We're clamoring for a new, and we need the Wood Place. We need the Wood Place radio booth for Tolar Rattler football. We need it really, really nice. Really, really nice. Okay. We need one big comfy chair and a couple of stools for Donnie and Doug. Okay.
I don't need it. I just need a stool because I don't sit down really.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to move on to a team that's not doing so well, Donnie, and I'm talking about my Texas Rangers. I know you don't like them very much, but my Texas Rangers, and they are not doing too good, Donnie. Right now, they are 37-44. That's before the game started today with Baltimore. 37-44. They are 8 games back in the West. Of course, Seattle 46-37, Houston 40-40. It kills me that Houston's on top of us in the division. Houston's playing some really good ball right now, though. We're 7 games out of the wild card, but folks, y'all need to forget about the wild card because if we don't win the division, we ain't going to the playoffs. That's just the way I see it. So the Rangers have got to win the American League West. It is a quest, and they've got to do it. And how are we going to get there, Donnie?
Well, there's a few things. They got to start figuring out how to hit again.
Garcia,
the hitting is so disappointing. They pitched good enough, and quite honestly, you have. It's a really weird year because the pitching hasn't been that bad, except for the bullpen, except for 2 guys in the bullpen, the only 2 guys that showed up, but. The starting pitching's not been bad, and even with all the injuries with our pitching staff, we've done good enough to win games if we could hit the ball. But nobody's hitting the ball. I mean, your best hitter is a guy that you were counting to be a utility guy. He's your best hitter this season, the most consistent. It's very. I've been so disappointed in the right, and obviously. They set the bar high, right? Winning the World Series, and you bring back pretty much everybody, right?
You go out and do that. You don't need to come back and lay a turd. You need to come back, and you need to repeat that type of performance. And look at Garcia, Donnie. I'm sorry. I know you like him. I like him too, but Garcia, he's just forgot how to hit.
Yeah, he's struggled. I know he's starting to get a little bit out of it now, but obviously, but you can say that about everybody. Simeon is I'm sorry, if you're an all-star quality guy, you got to hit better than 250.
Yeah.
If you're an all-star MVP guy, you got to hit better than 250, which Corey Seager's doing. If you're an all-star Silver Slugger, Gold Glove guy, you got to hit better than 240, like Nathaniel Lowe is.
And then Heim
is let down. He's not really doing a whole lot. And obviously they've had injuries. Evan Carter, Josh Young's hurt them with the injuries. But besides those two, you've had most of your guys, your
core
lineup healthy. And Josh Smith has done great filling in for Josh Young. Now the bullpen is what cost you, the middle bullpen, the 6th and 7th inning guys.
Yeah.
They've sucked. They have been horrible. And the only guys that you can count on getting out is David Robertson and Yates, the two old guys. And besides those guys, you throw somebody in there in the bullpen, you're like, for example, recently, Lorenzen,
yes.
Mm-hmm. He was pitching a good game. We had the lead, and then they brought in Latz, and he gave up a grand slam. Game over. That's been a lot of games like that where the starters kept you in the game, either had a lead or you're right in there, and then that 6th, 7th inning relief guy is giving up, 2, 3, 4 runs, and you can't win like that.
Well, I think what's going to help is, we're supposed to be getting guys healthy and coming back, but man, I don't know that we can wait that much longer for DeGrom and for Bradford to get back to where he was. Some of these guys. So some of the starters are going to be going in and fitting in some of those roles. You'll have some of them coming in the bullpen. Bradford may even come back, and that may be where he works his way up, is in the bullpen. He's done it before and does a really good job. One thing that I'm looking at is you've got to get that offense going. You got to shake some stuff up every now and then, Donnie. So I've got a question I want to pose to you because nobody's commented in with a good question. So here's the good question. You ready? Would you trade Scherzer? And get some offensive power in this lineup?
I probably would. Yeah. It depends who it is. Obviously, I like Nathaniel Lowe. He's a great dude. But I need my first baseman.
Yeah.
To hit more than 240 and hit more than two home runs and 15 RBIs or whatever he's at.
Yeah.
You got to do better than that, dude. That first base position. So that's one position I think you got to look at. Maybe, getting something that can create a little bit more power, a little bit more pop. I think when Evan Carter comes back, I think you put him in center field and maybe try to trade Tavares for something, maybe a decent reliever.
Or you get some pitching help. Yeah.
Right. It really all depends on how they're doing at the All-Star break, if I'm going to be a seller or a buyer, because quite honestly, if you're not doing any better, if you're still way back at the All-Star break, you got some really good pieces to trade and get some really good talent for. The only two guys that's done good in our bullpen are two older guys, David Robertson and Yates. If you feel like, okay, this is not our year and you're way behind, you trade those guys and you can get some really, really good prospects probably, or maybe a young offensive talent, that's already in the big leagues.
I think if you trade Scherzer to somebody during this period of time, you could get a good bat back that you could put in your lineup and help solidify some offensive firepower. I think you could really do it. Tavares, it's a matter of time before Evan Carter's your center fielder. Wyatt Langford's going to be your right fielder, and unless he gets deported, Garcia ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? So I think you utilize that. It'd be great to keep them, but with Josh Smith doing Josh Smith things, and you get Young back, if Smith can go out and play some outfield. You've got other guys. Duran can go out there and play. Duran and Smith are integral parts for this team. Now Duran's got to pick it up and start doing some stuff that he did last year for us, helping out and being a contributor offensively as well as defensively. So I think you can do that. Tavares and Scherzer, I would put on the trading block. I'd let people know, bring us a deal and we'll look at it.
Yeah, again, if they start playing better ball and they get a little bit get some momentum going at that All-Star break, and you're going to have DeGrom and Molly back, like you said earlier, you're going to have some of these starters. They're going to probably have to pitch in the bullpen. Like Dunning's already, he's pitched out of the bullpen his last outing, and so you got Dunning in the bullpen that will you feel good. Like, okay, that's a guy that you can put in the 6th or 7th inning. That you're in the game, you feel like he can shut it down and get it to those other guys. There'll probably be another guy. I don't know if it's going to be Jonathan Gray or whatever, because somebody's going to have to come down when DeGrom gets back and Molly gets in there. It all depends on where the Rangers are setting at the All-Star break, whether you're going to, okay, let's trade Scherzer. If we're not in it, let's trade them and get something for them. Or maybe even trade them for a bat, like you said, that if you're even in it, you can maybe say, okay, they need a pitcher, we need a hitter, and find that great trade partner and make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun. All-Star break is what Donnie says. I said you need to start getting it out there right away and seeing what you can do. This has been a lot of fun. Now, before we end our show tonight, Donnie, we have to have some kind of list, but let's talk about movie watching or TV watching, because that's a sport, right, Donnie?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
so you came up with a pretty good deal. What are you binge watching? What's something that what is a show, or go ahead, Donnie, show, series, movie?
Yeah. No, it's a TV show series that and nowadays the way they have all the Netflix and Prime and all the, there's a lot of shows that you can kind of binge watch. And obviously the summertime, you get a little downtime. It's maybe too hot to go outside. You want to start binge watching some shows and some series. What is that? And I think I want it to be the one that the series that you maybe already watched, that you would recommend for somebody to watch and binge watch the crap out of it, because it's great.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll let you start off. Give us a couple that Donnie would, because you're an active binger.
Yeah, I used to be, especially, but there's my most favorite one, the one I would recommend. Now, obviously, it's a guilty pleasure. It's probably your kids don't want to watch it or whatever. But the one that I like the most from the beginning to the end, that I think is the best.
Well, wait a minute, Donnie. I got to stop you. Now, I know this is internet, but we still have, we still have little ones watching us occasionally. So this has got to be something they can watch on regular TV, not something that they have to pay in and get off of those, kind of weird sites and stuff. Okay, you can't just do stuff like that, Donnie.
Yeah,
you got to keep this kid friendly. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So no, I think it's on maybe Netflix. I can't remember now, but I've already watched it twice. I made my wife watch it the second time through. So I watched this whole series 2 times. But my most favorite one that I would recommend to watch is Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad's great. It's a great series.
Down, that's my number one. Now, to make it fun, because I like to laugh. I like to just escape and say, hey, this is stupid, but it's funny. I'm watching one right now. The one that I'm watching right now, that's not even a serious show, and it's actually been around forever. They're done doing the show anymore, but it's the one that I didn't watch for some reason back when it was out, but we're watching it. I think we're at season 8. It lasted forever, and it's something that I don't really like. I don't really like animation stuff.
Oh no!
But I'm telling you, if you want to just laugh
Oh no!
and relate to some of these characters, remind me of people, but King of the Hill is such a fun movie.
Oh, Donnie!
Yes, and it's 30
Oh,
minutes, 22 minutes, whatever each episode. It's an easy
oh,
watch, and you'll laugh your butt off. It's
oh
got some great
no!
characters.
No! Oh
King of the Hill
no!
is great.
You started out. You started out up here, Donnie. Yeah, you had Breaking Bad, great series and everything. Then you kind of went way down here.
That was
King
just
of the
that's
Hill.
just one I'm watching right now, and
Oh my goodness!
it's a comedy. Now the
Because
other
you've
one,
always wanted to sell propane accessories, right?
yes,
Yeah.
he reminds me. I bet one of my good friends, Greg Allen out of Weatherford.
Yeah.
He reminds me Del Gribble kind of reminds me of you a little bit, but
Uh-oh. What are you talking about?
That's Boomhauer.
Yeah, Boomhauer. I
Yeah.
love that guy. That reminds me of Doug.
Yeah, that's Doug right there.
All right. So I got a couple for you, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to start watching it again because there's just not a whole lot on right now that's got, of course, all the Yellowstone series. You've got Yellowstone itself. I started rewatching season 5 because I heard that Kevin's not coming back for 5B or 6 or whatever it is that they're going to call it. And so I started rewatching season 5 again. And just what a great epic show that is. And then the spinoffs from there. Tim McGraw, man, who'd have thought that he could be a good actor, man? He was phenomenal in that one. And then I started watching a little bit of it because I heard it wasn't all that good, but then I started watching it. And the one with Harrison Ford,
1923.
that's a really intense and good. And I just love that period of time. And then the flashback of his backstory with that actor. I can't even remember his name right now. It just kind of escapes me. And then now they're talking about All Right, Matthew McConaughey being the next spinoff and everything. So anything that's Yellowstone, I'm in, man. I'm all in. Because, of course, my favorite of all time binge watching was Lonesome Dove. Now that's a real old show, Donnie, but
nice.
I guarantee you, if you like Yellowstone and all that and everything, but you really want to know what that time, that era was like, go back and watch Lonesome Dove. Have you ever watched the series?
Yeah, it's good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. I like those. What you recommend? 1883 is the one that Tim McGraw and Sam Elliott is in, and the one that stole that series though, 1883, was his daughter. I don't know the actress's name, but the daughter of that 1883, Tim McGraw's daughter, she was so good in that. And then 1923, Harrison Ford and I forget the actress's name, but that was a good one too. So, yeah, Yellowstone is a favorite of mine as well.
I started watching a series. I was told that I had to because I ain't hip enough, and I'm living way too old because I'm really old. And started watching Ted Lasso. Donnie, have you watched any of Ted Lasso?
I'm cheap, right?
Yeah.
So I watched. I had a free month or what, I don't know what it was of Apple TV. Yeah. So I watched like 3 episodes and it was really good. So I got to get back and watch that again. I need to watch all of that.
I'll have to accidentally show you my login for Apple, and maybe you can watch a little bit of it. It's very good.
David, I don't tell my wife, but I actually I added that to my Apple subscription.
Well, you just said it. She's probably watching, Donnie.
Yeah, no, yeah, she's but no, I did get it because you know why I got it. I'm ashamed of myself. I got it because the Rangers were playing. The only way you could watch the Friday night game for the Rangers was that Apple.
Yeah,
so
Apple TV.
I wanted to watch that game, so I got the subscription.
Yeah. How do you get to watch the Rangers nowadays? I mean, it's just sad what sports TV has come to, and it's great that we do what we do, Donnie. You know, somebody came to me the other day and goes, "Well, what are y'all doing this year? I mean, you're changing up your broadcast a little bit with the Tolar Rattlers. We're going to do the home games on Huddle, and but we're still going to be streaming now." The stream that we're going to be doing on YouTube, and of course we'll have the home game on Huddle and everything. There's still some working parts on that, and then of course when on the away games it's going to be traditionally like we've been doing it. We're going to be streaming it both the audio video on our Facebook feed and on our YouTube page. When we get into the playoffs, folks, y'all need to be really cognizant of the fact that if NFHS is in the building, we cannot show the game. We show the scoreboard, and we will do the audio, and we'll stream it through there. We do have a new partnership, though, Donnie, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention them, and I don't have the cover for it right now, but I will tell you, it's Metro 411 internet radio, and that's going to be really cool that we're going to have that venue, that space, because they're not just a regional, they're not just a local, they're a worldwide radio station. And if folks, if you nowadays with Spotify and Alexa and all that other stuff, just go to your Alexa and say, Alexa, Metro 411, and you'll be listening to some of the best hits ever. You know, if y'all listen to us at 99.5, when I was at 99.5, we had the best of the 70s, 80s, and more, and 90s and more. And that's exactly what you're going to get at Metro 411. So tune it in. And often it is going to be a site for Woodpace Promotions and for the sports scene. I wanted to get that in before we get out of there. Another one, Donnie, that I heard about, and I looked it up on this, and I'm trying to find it. It's another series, a new one. Okay, so do you like thrillers?
Yeah.
Okay. Bodyguard. It's a British political thriller. Okay. But it's not what you think. It's really good. Did you ever watch the series with what's his name? The guy. Oh man, Kiefer Sutherland. Is that what his name was? Donald Sutherland just passed away. Kiefer Sutherland did a series where he was designated. What was it called? Designated survivor.
Oh, okay.
It's where they're doing the state of the address at Congress, and they have a bomb go off, and so all of our political leaders are dead. But whenever the president does that, they set aside a junior member of the cabinet, and they put him, they hide him away somewhere else, so if anything like that was to happen, they'd have somebody, and well, he was it. And that series was really good political thriller. I think some of the stuff that they did on that program was kind of off, but this one, Bodyguard, watch it. It's really good. I've seen a little bit of it. Pretty good. Of course, the two biggest series I've watched lately were back in the day was, of course, The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, and then of course now, and then also the greatest of all time, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was just awesome. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones, Donnie? You never got into it?
Never watched it. Actually, Story listened to she did the book.
Yeah.
Like through audio.
Yeah.
So I imagine we'll probably watch that. I know it's probably a little too much for me, but I did watch Ozarks. That was one of my favorite.
Ozark was great.
It's kind of like a Breaking Bad a little bit. And Jason Bateman, man, in Ozarks, he shows off his acting ability. So you just think of him as a comedian kind of comedy movie, but he does such a great job in that series.
So let me think. Donnie Wood likes Breaking Bad and Ozark. Are you anchoring back to your high school days, Donnie? Or your side job that you had there?
No, it's kind of weird. It's like I like TV crime stuff, like the all those date lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just fascinates me, and I guess it all makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah. So movie watching is a sport, folks. So that's why we have our little deal. If you have a favorite series or you want to suggest something to us, you can always jump on the comment board, even after the live broadcast is over. Jump on there. Donnie will take a note, I know, and probably tune in. I tell you what, this has been a fun one, and I didn't even get to ask Donnie what he thought about Schlossesnagel, my guy, TCU to Texas A&M. He gets TCU to the College World Series. He gets A&M to the College World Series, and now he's going to Texas to lay an egg.
No, he's gonna finally get to win a national championship.
Okay.
You know, he wasn't able to do it at TCU. He got close. He got real close with A&M this year, but he didn't happen. So he's like, hey, I got to go to the greatest university, athletic, field ever, and the University of Texas. So we're gonna have a football national champion this year and a baseball champion in 2025, baby.
Yes, and a state high school football champion right here.
And in November, David.
Yes.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
It's going to happen in November.
Okay.
We're getting rid of you know who, and it's going to happen.
What's happening?
You know what's happening. I don't want to offend anybody, but
November?
M-A-G-A, November.
Oh, you know what? I heard, Donnie, that
my taxes are going to go down. My price is going to go down. My gas price is going to go down. It's going to be a magical time after November.
How's your golf score?
I'm six. I'm a 6 under. Yeah,
but do you carry your own clubs?
Hey, you have to carry my clubs.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you what, folks, that's enough of this foolishness. We're going to cut out of here, man. I tell you what, it's been a fun one, Donnie. It's good seeing you. We, of course, life, man, it just gets so hectic. Everybody slow down, say hi to people that mean the most to you. And that's why we do this show, so that we can hang out like a bunch of knuckleheads and talk sports.
There you go.
Donnie, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We had a pretty good crowd today, and we'll catch you down the road. God bless. And we'll see you down that road.
Go Rattlers.